Welcome to the Bruno Mattei Show in HD. We are in HD. The movie's not. Who remembers anything about this movie?
I
had nuns in it.
Yes, nuns.
Nuns and Frankenstein.
Now, this isn't like, because we've been gone from this show for like a month or so because of camera shit, but
Yes.
this isn't like, you know, we watched this movie a month ago and we kind of forgot it somewhat. We watched this 2 days ago. Honestly, we watched this like much sooner than we did, say, like SS Girls Women's Camp 119, stuff like that. Between that
SS
and-
Girls we almost did just from memory. Like we watched it like a couple weeks beforehand. Like, oh, you know, we're gonna do this show. It'd be great.
Oh, if you go back and watch that episode, you can tell.
I have to think on one or two things, but you know, it's all still there. But yeah, this movie from beginning to end was just. It was confusing and kind of forgettable.
Yeah, like the opening scene was memorable to me, and the very, very end scene, and then the middle was just a blur of like interviewing nuns and getting knives thrown at him.
And I had seen this movie before. I used to own it, and so I saw it maybe about 7 years ago. I didn't remember that much about it. So we go back and watch it again, and you're right, the first scene in the movie is actually pretty good. Like, it's well shot, there's some good coloring in there, fairly well acted, and it's graphic and pretty fun. And you had said to me, what don't you like about this? I'm sitting here like, I know the whole movie can't be like this. If the whole movie is like this, I can't imagine why I didn't like it 7 years ago. This is no fucking way.
I remember that because you couldn't place a single other thing that happens in the movie. It was like, I just remember not liking it. If it's all that good, I would have seen it again since then.
The genitals are the door to evil. The vagina, the uterus, the womb, the labyrinth that leads to hell, the devil's tools.
It's a typical nunsploitation movie. It's really, really forgettable. You know, it's not that entertaining at all. As far as, it's the same with like, well, I wouldn't say it's like the same as Nun of Monza, but the same as like generally of any other nunsploitation movie, which is they kind of just go for nuns doing crazy shit, and that's really all they do with them.
Yeah,
Well, really, the only nun that was really doing the crazy shit was the Mother Superior.
Yeah,
They were just like scared of her.
I will say
she's
though,
a scary woman.
She kept making like her Angela from Sleepaway Camp face.
yeah.
I felt the joy inside like this! Joy and pain, you feel it?
Oh, she was great, Franca Stocchi. I thought she was.
He was scared.
She was awesome. Like, she sells this fucking movie. Yeah, I mean, the entertainment value that comes from this movie, it comes from her. And some of you might remember from other stuff, like she's one of the guards in Women's Prison Massacre.
Yeah.
Well, she was Mother Superior in
the last
one. And Joe D'Amato's Bly Omega, she's in that quite a bit.
It was so hard to recognize her with all that, you know.
Yeah. I didn't until we had IMDb'd her. I thought looking at her that, like, I know those crazy fucking eyes. It's got to be fucking Women's Prison Massacre.
Kept making those wild eyes and everything.
She could kill if she wanted to, but she won't. She loves a man, see? Only she's mine, oh mine. No man will take her from me.
They have her in there because it would have been weird seeing Franco Garofalo play a nun. And he's in this movie too.
In a very, very odd role.
Yeah, it was nice to see him, but that role could have been like anybody.
It could have been
Just
anybody.
like him standing in the background, him feeding a dog.
Yeah, it seems like whatever weird looks he gave in it is just because he looks weird in general. You know,
half the scenes he was in, he didn't even have dialogue. He just like somebody would walk up to him, and he just kind of turn like,
yeah.
Help me. Help. Sister, what is it? What is it?
I got that part where like that woman was like,
And that was
she
it.
took the host and she was like bleeding from her mouth and she was like running screaming through the garden. He just turns around, looks at her, keeps
It's
trimming
just
the
another
bushes.
afternoon for him. I take it that now, having seen him in 3 of these Bruno Mattei movies, I guess he's just used to all of this by now. Nothing faces him. He's just completely dead inside
Day in the
by,
life.
by this point. So, like, wow.
Building up to something impressive.
We're now joined by the Virgin Mary herself. I will say that this is definitely the A movie of The Other Hell and None of Monza.
I far preferred this one to that.
Oh God, yeah. It's honestly, I think this is one of his most well-made movies. If you're talking on a technical level, just like film stock, how it looks, how it's edited, different angles. It's a really crisp and clear-looking movie, and it seems like in this, as opposed to None of Monza, it seems like his heart was more in this movie.
Well, plus, as much as it dragged in the middle, I actually gave 2 shits about how it all turned out.
Sure.
None of Monza, I was like, yeah, sure, bricker in a wall, I don't care.
Yeah, this one is presented much more like a giallo mystery thriller.
and yeah, see, that was the thing that got me from like beginning to end on it is, it didn't even feel like I know it's one of his movies.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like it for a lot of the parts. Like it felt more like an Argento movie for me.
And if necessary, question the nuns individually.
I won't allow you to upset the convent life. The nuns are still extremely shocked.
Mother, I was sent here specially to try to find out how these women died. It was a job I was given. And I don't mean to leave this convent until I've solved the mystery.
Well, there's no mystery in this convent, I assure you.
It does feel a little more like an Argento movie because it is kind of like Suspiria. It's like Suspiria,
It feels a lot like Suspiria.
but in a convent instead of a fucking dance hall. To me, this feels like, I mean, if you're certainly if you're talking like on a technical aspect, it feels as much like a Bruno Mattei movie as SS Girls. They both kind of have the same sort of look to them, especially how he uses reds a lot in this movie. Which, well, could be him doing Dario Argento. And this one is shit. I don't think we've even touched on the fucking plot of this goddamn thing because we can't fucking remember. It's a priest comes in to investigate.
I don't know what the problem was like to begin with. It was just like nuns behaving strangely.
One of them gets the stigmata.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it was seeming like the devil had somehow taken hold of one of them, but he was trying to figure out why, and more like supernatural stuff keeps happening.
I'm only trying to find some kind of clue, and I'm prepared to turn this convent upside down until I find what I'm looking for. Do you hear?
I will not permit you to.
Yes, you will, Reverend Mother. Save your dictatorial methods for your unfortunate nuns. I'm outside your jurisdiction.
And there was kind of the twist ending, like, oh my god, it wasn't the nun I thought it was.
Alright,
Yeah.
But we
the
kind of
crazy
figured out what
monster
nun
in the
it was from
attic.
the beginning.
They turned out to have, if you get thrown into a pot of boiling water as a baby and you come out with like only this part of your body scarred,
That was so ridiculous.
You're pretty fucking lucky.
Yeah, that just looked. She looked like fucking Yakov Smirnoff with that shit on her face.
My baby.
Dude, she looked like Ellis from Die Hard. She her burnt makeup, which was brown, was just kind of like
looked like
right
she
here.
really
It looked like she had a beard.
It just looked basically like this, like right here.
Yeah.
This horrible burns on my face.
And this is what this is like. the big kind of reveal at the end. This is what we're supposed to be scared of in this movie. But she looks like, she watched Beavis and Butthead and super glued her hair to her fucking face. But this is, you can tell that he's really trying to use some creepy imagery in this. There's a lot of like
those marionette things.
Those marionette dolls hanging down and shit like that. And some parts, I don't know what the hell he's doing. Like when it cuts to that cat out of nowhere, like several times.
That cat was
in
an
the movie.
integral part of that movie, and I have no idea why.
Did anyone actually Did either of you notice what was even the deal with that cat? The first 10 minutes or so into the movie, it just suddenly cuts to a cat, just like sitting there, just like grips itself.
Well, it had to
Very close-up shot.
It had to have meant
just
something
right
because after
here.
those dogs
And then cuts
skinned
away.
it with
That's
their
it.
teeth or whatever they did, everything seemed to all go to hell. But I have no idea what it was supposed to represent.
I don't know. Like I just what I remember most is like how much he lucked out on the shot where the camera is in that cellar, basement, whatever, and then it pans up and the cat is kind of looking around the corner and just meows at like the right moment.
Yeah, you can't train
It's
a cat to do that.
Yeah, like Bruno, he lucked out on that one.
Maybe they just set the cat free in the convent and followed it around filming it. See if it did anything
Exactly.
interesting.
This was the lost part of Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he had somebody on the other side, like poke it in the ass with a needle. I would not put it past him.
They didn't really care
It's
about animal
almost like you're
cruelty,
saying
they,
that Bruno Mattei uses questionable methods.
Well, that part where they just took a
See,
chicken
with
and
the
killed it
chicken.
on scene.
Yeah, if you've never seen what a chicken with its head cut off looks like, watch this movie. You'll see it. Just grabs the chicken, blam! Head rolls, body's
It's not even
flailing,
an important part.
spurting
They're
blood.
having a conversation.
Yeah.
Just went bap.
Stay classy, other hell. It's like we said, in our when we were talking about Women's Camp 119, that when he does two movies like this of the same exploitation subgenre and back to back, they are vastly different. In this case, taking away that one is more well made than the other, this one is much more of a horror film. I wouldn't call None of Monza a horror film. It's a sex film. It's just a softcore sex movie.
Yeah.
This one, I don't even remember there being any nudity in this movie.
Oh.
Not off the top of my head, anyway.
Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
there may have been, but I certainly don't remember
I don't
it.
think so.
Yeah. I can't. I certainly can't remember off the top of my head. But it isn't a sex film.
'Cause
I
even
mean, it's
when
purely a horror movie.
Yeah.
Even when that nun was sick, she was just laying in bed, just with her full garb on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when they had an excuse to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if this was None of Monza, that would have been fucking
It should have
vagina
been naked.
cam.
The other nuns there to help her would have been naked too, just because solidarity.
I liked what you said though, that it's very appropriate that this is called the other hell, given both this and None of Monza are pretty bad. One's None of Monza, the other one is the other hell.
But definitely have to say though, it was it was the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, it certainly was.
If I had to go back and watch one of them again, which I probably won't, but if I had to,
Yeah,
I would definitely go with this one.
I would. Yeah, exactly.
Even for all the confusion and for several parts, just not even being able to figure out what the hell's going on.
Who's there?
It was certainly confusing, but I wasn't frustrated by it because I didn't care that much. I certainly liked. Yeah, I liked the main guy, the main priest. I loved Franca Stabi. I thought she was great. I mean, there was a few stuff here and there that were kind of worth focusing on, but sitting there really not knowing what exactly is happening, I just didn't care all that much because it is just at the worst, this is just an uninteresting movie. I mean, that's it. It isn't that it's poorly made, which if it was poorly made, I wouldn't care. But it isn't that it's poorly made. It isn't that, that it's poorly acted. It's just, it's like most nunsploitation movies I've seen. It's just not interesting. It's just kind of boring.
Well, plus it seemed like, they had their opening zinger and they had their end game and they just patted the shit out of the middle of that.
Oh, and they did a really good job on like that opening scene. That opening scene was really effective.
It was attention grabbing. I was kind of
yeah. Oh, what about that
sudden stabbing?
She seemed to enjoy suddenly stabbing people.
I really liked the stupid ass re-release credits that they put on there.
Oh yeah.
It looked like it was something coming out on like Lifetime channel in like mid '90s.
It looked like fucking Monster Vision credits.
Yeah.
Not from a movie on Monster Vision. I'm talking about the credits for Joe Bob Briggs' fucking Monster Vision. White creepy font on there, and then at the end,
she's like the go into Word, and she was like monster.
Yeah,
the chiller font.
It came from another planet.
Like, these are just so much. It was almost just laughably distracting how much clearer these credits look than the actual movie itself. And then at the end, when it pops up, the end over like image of her, I don't know, she was yelling or doing something, just an image of like
just did like the freeze frame ending and just like it was like one of the old like universes, like the end.
Yeah, you almost expected it to like come out like dark towards the screen, like in
the
like
orchestra
3D.
swells.
I was waiting for like the fanfare ending to let me know. Universal pops up in.
There's a logical explanation for everything.
These credits looked so recent that I honestly thought that it was going to say directed by Bruno Mattei on it. Like I seriously thought that that's what they were going to do.
Which
but it doesn't.
was it this time?
Well,
Stefan Oblowski.
Yes, his nun name.
That's his nun name. It did still have him on there. Like
the writing credit, I think. Was it him and
Claudio Vergasso wrote it.
It was kind of one of those things too, like how usually when he does like a similar movie, some of the shots, like some of the areas seem kind of familiar, even like how like Women's Camp 119, some of the sets look familiar to like Women's Prison Massacre, but this place was literally the exact same building, same everything. They didn't change a thing from None of Monza.
Yeah.
Plus the Mother Superior
was really distracting. Yeah, you have half the same cast, the exact same sets.
Yeah.
All wearing like the habits and everything again. Basically, the only difference was this one was supposed to be set in modern times as opposed to.
I think we figured that out until about halfway through the movie.
Yeah. Like somebody had like a cassette player or something.
Yeah. But yeah, like I'm sitting there watching that scene in the church. I'm like, oh. A couple months ago, I saw Zora Karova get fucked on that thing.
I hope they cleaned it.
I'm sure they just wiped it off with like a glad rag.
I remember.
Are you kidding? Back in those days, just like, it's dry.
Unfortunately, this is not the first time our humble chapel has been the scene of unjust and horrifying incidents. There have been many pitiful cases, of which this is perhaps the saddest of all.
I remember when Ed was here and he was telling us that this is one where they were filming it about simultaneously.
Really?
I mean, we did Hell of the Living Dead in between the two, but I mean, we're just going by the IMDb filmography. So, but I guess this was like they would be shooting some of this upstairs and like maybe none of Monza downstairs, and I thought it would be fucking hilarious if you could like overhear like them shooting shit like in the other room for the other movie.
Well, plus like the overlap, people got wonder if they had to keep running back and forth between the sets.
Well, I wonder
They're in
if,
the same outfits, so I guess like
yeah.
they could be in either.
I wonder if like if you like really looked through like None of Monza, if you could see like the cat in the background somewhere.
That'd be nice.
That'd
I mean, I'm not gonna do that.
that'd be like
Well,
the,
let's just assume that there is.
the
Yeah.
one variable that you really couldn't control. A cat.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's what all those dogs were barking about in the background of None of Monza.
You should know two Floyds in most of your movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Lloyd, how'd you get out of the bedroom? Distinctly put a chair over that door. What camera do we use that's grainier? Use it on the porn.
They don't care as long as they see them titties. I assume that that's what he would say and how he sounded.
We gotta mention the soundtrack, too.
Right.
Rocking soundtrack.
Of course.
As always.
It's a Bruno movie. Of course it's got a rockin' soundtrack. And I'm sitting there like,
Oh, we actually found, too, by accident, which movie that soundtrack was from.
and I knew that soundtrack sounded familiar. It's a Goblin soundtrack, and
Which
I'm
actually
watching
gives
it.
them credit this time.
Yeah, oh, it did in Hell of the Living Dead too. But
Oh, yeah,
they
it's
didn't know
really
about it, but
it's really small.
yeah. So like yeah, I'm sitting there hearing this fucking theme. I'm like, know this goddamn theme. I've heard it and it's not from this. It's like, I know I've seen this movie, but I wouldn't have remembered that from 7 years ago.
Yeah, because half the time, like, you kept hearing it, and you'd hear, like, familiar chords. And
Yeah.
It's like, I almost want to say it was Dawn of the Dead, but I know it wasn't,
Yeah.
because I know that soundtrack too well.
Yeah, and I was also thinking like, well, I knew it wasn't made for like the other Hell, because we look at Hell of the Living Dead, it had a Goblin score. I was also kind of thinking like, did they also use some of this in Hell of the Living Dead? Maybe they did, but in fact, I think they might have. But then, like, when we looked up the trailer for Joe D'Amato's Y Omega, that's when I'm like,
I'm like, oh, okay,
that's what
there
it's
it is.
from. Oh,
As soon as we hit play on that trailer, that same soundtrack
Yeah.
just kicked in immediately. And this is like literally like 2 minutes after the big like the end text went
Yeah, well,
on
we found it because we were
screen,
clicking
so-
around on that lady's IMDb trying to figure out
Yeah,
what we knew it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
And it kicked up immediately. Like, oh, that solves that question.
Right.
Thanks, research team.
And that's a good fucking movie, too. After that, I'm like, shit, why couldn't that have been a fucking Bruno movie? We could have been watching that instead of the other Hell. Boy, Omega's fucking great. Why couldn't the two have collaborated on that?
People don't come to the site to see us review great movies.
Great to me. I think it's great.
Well, yeah.
Ebert would probably disagree.
I don't know. His reviews have been getting kind of hit and miss lately. He might actually agree nowadays.
Just come back around
No.
again. You spit in your grave, it's the best movie.
What was I thinking?
He'll probably say that about the remake.
Players, that was some pretty ass music.
I was pretty much done talking about the other Hell when we're like,
They have
anyone
nuns in
remember
it.
this movie?
Yeah.
No? Alright. Bye. That would have suited me fine too.
Fantastic.
What do we got next?
It's a 1 minute episode with 30 minutes of padding. Shit, I don't think what is next? I don't think I looked. I think it's Rats.
Yeah, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What, Rats? Night of Terror?
Yeah, Rats Night of. I think it's Rats. I think Rats is what we have next. So that's cool.
That would be good because I think it's like. It's,
I think it's Rats, and then it's
Rats,
the Caligula ripoffs.
yeah, like Rats, Caligula, and I think one of like those. One of those sort of like spaghetti westerns.
Oh, Scalps.
Scalps.
Yeah, Scalps is in there somewhere, but
Bronco Apache.
it's gonna be great. All right, we'll see you next time with either Rats or the Caligula ripoffs.
Hopefully rats.
Yeah, hopefully Rats. Please, God, let it be Rats.